I see a future in him. He's doing really well, and we have to see what is the best. As you see, he's progressing. Also against Everton, I was really happy with his performance. I was happy with his performance in the World Cup. So his progress is really good.
Facundo Pellistri might have just changed Manchester United's transfer plans. For now, Anthony Martial remains the only real option Erik Ten Hag has at centre forward, which is why he was wrapped in cotton wool ahead of Saturday's Manchester derby and given the night off. With Marcus Rashford only on the bench, it was Anthony Elanga who was given an extended run as a striker in the Manchester United side. But if Wout Weghorst was watching from Istanbul, he would have been confident of getting plenty of minutes when he arrives at Old Trafford. United are close to tying up a complicated loan move for the Netherlands striker, and although his arrival may be a little underwhelming, he is quite clearly needed. Weghorst's arrival might well signal a loan exit for Elanga, especially if Jadon Sancho is soon returned to the squad, and it feels like he needs an extended run of first-team football. He's certainly not the answer at centre forward. In his 60 minutes in that role, he managed just 11 touches, and when he tapped home Aaron Wan-Bissaka's cross early in the second half, the flag was quickly up. Elanga was a long way offside in truth, and it showed that lack of news and movement that is required when playing that role, but it's difficult to blame him for that, given he was forced to fill in due to the lack of options. Weghorst, 30, is much more experienced and has been playing well for Besiktas this season. His game-changing cameo in the World Cup quarter-final is still fresh in the memory as well. If he's registered by Friday lunchtime, he can be in the squad to face Manchester City, and although Martial is likely to remain the starter, at least this provides more experience and competition for that spot. On the evidence of the win against Charlton, it is badly needed. Pellistri's point proven. You could say this was an overdue debut for Facundo Pellistri, arriving 2 years, 3 months and 5 days after he signed for United as one of the brightest attacking talents in South America. The Uruguayan has had a difficult loan spell at Alaves in that, but has been bright enough to force his way into his international squad and looked bright at the World Cup as well. With United short of winger, it's been a surprise it's taken him so long to earn a chance, and his opportunity against Charlton only consisted of 10 minutes, but he made an impact. There was one driving dribble to create a chance for Scott McTominay, and then another to tee up Rashford for the goal that finally put the tie to bed. The game had opened up by then, but Pellistri did more in his brief opportunity than Elanga did in 80. Pellistri turned 21 just after the World Cup and is clearly at a point in his career where he needs some direction and some regular game time. His agent said before the World Cup that he could leave United in January, but on this evidence, the £9 million winger is worth keeping in the squad, especially if Elanga does depart on loan. Academy debuts. It is 20 years this year since Tom Heaton won the FA Youth Cup as a United Academy goalkeeper. That success came 3 years before Kobbie Mainoo was born, but they were united last night and making their first starts for the club. It could be a quiz question for years to come. The time United fielded a team that contained 2 academy players making their first starts for the club, one aged 17 and one aged 36. In other news, Pep Guardiola says he has ridiculous idea how to win derby. Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola says he has a ridiculous idea about how to beat Manchester United in Saturday's derby encounter at Old Trafford. City go into the game in second place in the Premier League, 4 points clear of their old rivals in fourth. Guardiola has won 9 out of 17 meetings with United since replacing Manuel Pellegrini in 2016, losing 6. The Spaniard has finished ahead of the Red Devils in all of his 6 seasons in charge at City. Erik Ten Hag is the 4th different United manager he has faced in that time. Guardiola has beaten them all, most recently the Dutchman, in a 6-3 victory at Etihad Stadium in October. However, United have dropped just 7 points in 10 Premier League games since and have won their last 4, their best run since March 2021. It means Guardiola is going to be careful with the City team he picks to play Southampton in the EFL Cup on Wednesday. I would like to arrive against United with the average of minutes in the legs of the players quite similar because I have a few ideas, thoughts, ridiculous ones against United, he said. The idea of Guardiola coming up with something ridiculous conjures up all kinds of ideas, which, if implemented, feeds the narrative that he overthinks some high-profile games, sometimes to the detriment of his own team. The most obvious example was the 20 2020 Champions League quarter-final when City were overwhelming favorites to beat Lyon in a one-off game, only to lose after Guardiola had switched to a 3-5-2 formation to counter the speed of a side that had beaten the Blues in the group stage of the competition. Guardiola was asked about it last April before the first leg of City's Champions League quarter-final with Atletico Madrid, which they did go on to win. The response at the time was sarcastic. "I overthink a lot. I love to overthink and create stupid tactics again. Tonight I will create an inspiration and do incredible tactics. We play with 12. Guardiola did not elaborate on his thoughts for Saturday's game against United, although he did notice his players were tired in training after last week's Premier League win at Chelsea. "I don't have a clear lineup against United," he said. "I didn't watch their last games. I have to see the way they play at home and if they change something." If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash the like button and make sure to subscribe to Man United Hub to get all the latest updates.